Cote, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a big journaler. I journal every day. I've also recently started supplementing my daily long form journaling with also bullet journaling. And I was thinking that you're a really big writer too, but your writing seems to all be digital and it seems to be public. Is that
Mm.
true?
uh, hmm. Yes. I, the, the hesitation, the exceptions being, I guess there's three things a large amount of writing that I do that is not public.
Yeah.
It is pretty much all digital. Every now and then I really want the Apple Pencil situation to work out. I really like writing with it and doing things, but it just doesn't. Even when I always go in and out of using Apple Notes and Obsidian for
Uh-huh.
I'm currently in an Obsidian phase. We'll see how long I stay on the wagon. I don't know if that's on the wagon or off the wagon, but
Uh, it's off the topic.
thank you. so
Ah!
so I guess writing with an Apple Pencil is still digital, but typing,
Okay.
we can put it that way. So I spend a lot of time writing in my journal, which is mostly just me talking about sad stuff and if I'm doing well in life. So
And you're talking
I
about a
don't.
digital journal.
Yeah. Like I
Okay.
every day I like type something in, dear diary, and then
Okay. Nice, nice.
of course, there's a bunch of writing that I do for work that doesn't get published because it's like, work stuff. And then recently, maybe in the past year or two, I type a lot of stuff for my like solo Dungeons and Dragons playing. Lots of typing there
Ah.
that never gets published. So that the
So
short
what
answer is yes.
yes, but it's not all public.
That's right.
You
That's right.
okay. So what do you think that what my hesitation for writing my thoughts, my keeping my journal digitally is I just don't want to I don't want more screen time. Like
Mm,
like sitting with a book that's open in a quiet room, like screen is too filled with other doors that I might accidentally or be tempted to
mm.
open. And a book
Yeah.
is just me and my thoughts.
Well, I mean,
Do,
I think, yeah, I think there's two things there. One, I don't know. I don't know if this is accurate or arrogant or both, but I feel like I'm pretty good at not getting distracted with screens, like,
okay.
and kind of being in control of that. And so I don't worry about that. And two, I think I just don't interact with paper as well as I used to. Like it's like
Oh.
I went to I have a bunch of like old paperback books, and
Uh-huh.
I have one that I keep trying to read, but like I need a light source, and then like I have to, and then I've got to like hold it open, and I can't go look things up.
What the hell, man? What is this? It's actually really funny you say that because that's the second reason I haven't switched to digital journaling is because I'm a little bit attached to the tactile nature of it and the
Yeah.
pens and the scratching and the paper, yeah, and the feeling
That
of it
part's
all.
nice. I like that. Yeah.
But then I think about switching because I do think, oh, sometimes my journaling does like might easily make itself into a tech related blog post, but
Hmm.
because it's in my journal, the work of getting it into a blogging form is a lot of work and I don't do it.
Yeah.
Or what are the benefits? What are the pros and cons to journaling digitally versus on paper, do you think?
Oh, well, I think it's a lot. I think it's a lot faster for me to do digital stuff, and then two, this is a lot more theoretic than real, but it is nice to be able to jump between decades of stuff. Decades is
Yeah.
exaggerating, but like go between
Mhm.
different things very quickly. And then the final thing is kind of like that. When you read a book, you need a light source. It's just it's just like all there, right? Like it's like
Uh-huh.
I do have, maybe not here, but I do have boxes of my paper journals, and like I scan those in because I never looked at them. Like what
Uh-huh.
once it's in a paper journal in a box, it's gone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I don't know. But now the downfall, there's like,
Uh-huh.
the major downfall
Uh-huh.
is all the time I spend gardening this stuff. Like I might write a script wrong, and suddenly like the date created is today instead of sometime over the past 10 years. And then there'll be like some YAML stuff in it that has the date created, and I'm like, fuck. Now I got to
Uh-huh.
somehow go through and reset the date created on the file, even though in the file it has the right date. And then all of a sudden
Uh-huh.
I'm putting way too much thought into it, into journal files.
And so it's the okay. I want to bring on our guest, Manton, and get your thoughts. I mean, you probably have a biased opinion. I want you to give your thoughts about analog versus digital journaling, and then also introduce yourself and say who you are and what you do.
Hi, good to be here. I'm Manton Reece. I'm a developer and blogger and founder of Micro.blog. And I started with a handwritten journal and
Uh-huh.
maybe 25 years ago now, I guess.
Mhm.
And that was really valuable to me, even if I didn't do it every day. It might sometimes like a month will go by and I would forget about it. And I have several of those journals, but I did switch to digital, I guess 5 plus years ago, something like that.
Oh.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and I did, and mostly it's just faster and more convenient.
Uh-huh.
Like if I think of something, I can do it on my phone or I can do it on my computer. And also, I'm always thinking about. I mean, I journal partly for myself, just to kind of process, you know, things
Mhm.
what's going on. But also, I do in the back of my head have the idea that maybe after I'm gone, someone will find them
Oh,
interesting, and
totally. The
someone in my
archives.
I
yeah.
have the opposite worry of like after I'm
Oh,
gone,
really?
someone's gonna read this and I don't want them to read it. It's my private
Oh,
thoughts.
interesting.
Like,
No, I
yeah.
don't, yeah, I would like them to like family, and I think it would be really valuable because I think about like people in my family, for example, that I didn't know very well. I would love to have their private journal of like things they
y-
were thinking about and going through.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's partly what I think about. And where I'm going with that is that I think if there's it's kind of it's there's pros and cons in terms of the durability, like have things lasting when they're digital. Because on the one hand,
Mhm.
you can make a million copies instantly. On the other
Mhm.
hand, if they're stuck in some encrypted, you know, cloud
Mm.
storage or something, and you haven't told people how to access them, maybe they're gone forever. And so in some cases it's even better if there's just like a printed copy, or not necessarily a printed copy, although some people do that, but a handwritten, copy on the bookshelf that someone can just grab.
Mm.
But then I think your house burns down and then those are gone
Yeah.
forever. And I mean there's just it's something I think probably a little too much about, and I don't have a perfect system, but
Yeah, and it has something to do with how much you're then attached to the artifact. Like Cote was saying,
right.
once you write it down and then you never look at that journal again,
Hmm.
as though it's a bad thing. But some people might consider that a good thing. Like all I
Sure.
needed it for was to process my thoughts, and now it's
Hmm.
Sure,
gone.
sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Well, that's
but
totally fine. Yeah.
do you do your private? Like, do you basically when you do your thinking and you do that in a digital journal? How much of that is public, and how much of that do you keep
None
like
of it is
private?
public when I do that. Yeah, it's
Okay,
all 100% private, and I can't think of anything that I've written privately that I have then thought I should share this publicly. It's all private stuff. But I have done the opposite. So we had like a family blog for a
that's
while. We still
cool.
have it, but like it
Uh-huh.
hasn't been updated in a while. But like when we would go on trips, like
Uh-huh.
we would post to the blog of like, hey, we're in, London, or, we're traveling and we're doing whatever, some road trip or something. And that was really neat. And for some of those entries, I did the opposite of what you said. I took the kind of semi-public blog posts and I copied them into my journal because it felt
Mm.
like they had like a place there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Well,
yeah.
what was the family journaling was the what's the desired outcome of that? There's definitely like family bonding, but are you sharing like with strangers? Are you meant to be sharing with other people in your family? Like do you
Yeah,
hope to get feedback, or is it more about the record you're creating?
yeah, it's all about the record and then sharing with family. So like we had a couple people in the family that would follow the blog, and just like not with RSS or anything like that, just like, every couple days or whatever, when we were on this trip, they would just load it up in their web browser and read it. And maybe they would leave a comment. But it wasn't really public. It was like technically public, like on the open web, but it's like
Mhm.
I wasn't advertising the URL, and it's like no one was just stumbling upon it.
Yeah.
I think I probably even just like turned off, you know, indexing of search engines and things like that. So it
Mm.
was kind of like semi-public, but it was mostly just for ourselves, just to kind of have a little record of what was going on.
That's nice. Did you feel any vulnerability as part of posting that? Or
A
in
little
general?
bit,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was the kind of thing. I mean, it technically was public, so like it's the kind of thing like if anybody saw it, I wouldn't be like, oh no, we have to take that down.
Uh-huh.
Whereas if right now, like all of a sudden everyone had access to like years and years of my private journal, I would be like, that's not great. I mean, it'll be fine, but it's not great.
Right, right.
Part
It's gonna add a lot of friction into your life. Like just
Yeah, I don't really need
deal
to
with it.
deal with that feedback. But I have thought about, I blogged about this sometime recently, in the last year or so, where I had this idea that like the longer time goes from a private thought or a private
Uh-huh.
journal entry, the less it matters that it's private. And so I had
Uh-huh.
this idea that like for my private journal, maybe after like 15 years, like the entry just
Uh-huh.
becomes public automatically because it doesn't really
Oh.
matter that much anymore. Like something that felt important in private
Uh-huh.
literally 20 years ago, I was practically a different person. I mean, it just doesn't
Yeah.
matter that much. So I don't know if I'll ever follow through on that idea, but I don't know. Maybe there's something there. I don't know.
I
Yeah,
think two big
you definitely
barriers.
don't want to reset the dates on those files then. That
No, yeah,
make
that would be a mistake. Yeah.
I think two big barriers to blogging, at least for me, one is there's a little bit of vulnerability of, especially since I haven't done much of it before, and you have to start somewhere, and it's always going to be bad at first. But and I know that, but still, it's hard. And then the other one is um, maintaining it feels like work.
Hmm.
I like having a stale website isn't great, and so it's maybe better not to put yourself in a position where you might have a stale website. Um, what do you think about each of those? We kind of covered vulnerability, but what do
Hmm.
you think about trying to keep it fresh all the time and the pressure to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say don't. People shouldn't worry about the pressure. Yeah, like, I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of I mean, it's easy for me to say that, but like, of
Yeah.
course, we're all, especially someone starting out on a blog, we're all
Uh-huh.
going to overthink everything and like, is this
Yeah.
post the best? And and I would say at the beginning, like you said, very few people are going to be reading it, and
Uh-huh.
I think there's a lot of value in just the process of
Mm.
similar to journaling, really, but like the process of thinking through a problem or just writing something. There's a lot of value. Like if no one read my blog, I would still be doing it.
Uh-huh.
I think it's just kind of ingrained in me now. Um, but I'd also, in terms of like getting stuck and not knowing what to post, or not uh not keeping up, it's like a year goes by and there's no posts and your website seems really stale. I mean, that's part of why I built blog in a way, in that like all these things that we're all sort of posting to Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all this kind of stuff, if you just post that to your blog instead,
Uh-huh.
then your blog is fresh. It has stuff. It's got the photo from the trip you just took. It's got some random thought from the Apple event a couple of days ago. It's got all this stuff on your blog. And then if you don't write if a longer post, like more of like an essay type post, you only post every couple months or something, or a year. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? Because you
Okay.
still have all this stuff on your own blog, and it's still like your space that you control.
So tell me about, before you say exactly what microblog is, tell me about what you were experiencing that made you come up with the idea of microblog to solve. Tell me about the problem microblog solves before you tell me about microblog.
I think it really came from my frustration with a couple different parts of like mainstream social media. Like at the beginning, I was really frustrated with sort of like the developer hostile attitude of like Twitter going back, 10 years, like before Elon Musk, before any of, the latest sort of roller coaster. Um,
Uh-huh.
the How these big companies can sort of lock down their APIs, they can prevent, developers
Mm.
from building the apps for their users that they want to build. That was really frustrating to me. And so that was like my first big moment of like, I'm gonna quit Twitter. I'm gonna stop posting all this stuff. I'm gonna like put it back on my blog and have more control
I
over it.
I wanna own
Um,
my own content. I
I
like
own
that.
my own content, yeah, and so that was really the start of it, kind of from the developer's perspective. But at the same time, I was also kind of trying, just opening my eyes a little bit to all the other problems when you get people with strong opinions on the internet, and sort of like hate, and people getting harassed, and just a lot of the downsides of big social media. And so I was thinking those two things kind of combine to form what became Micro.blog.
So I'm especially excited to hear what micro.blog is because you kind of presented it in a way where it solves online hostility. Is that true?
We've solved it. We've solved it. No one is ever angry. No one is ever hostile.
Just skipping through fields
Yeah.
with rainbows and butterflies.
Yeah,
Um,
they don't even use that purple like angry emoji. Just doesn't ever show up there, right?
we block it. We block half the emoji, so you can't.
It doesn't
No,
doesn't need to be blocked because no one even
yeah.
wants to use it. Yes.
It's interesting because actually some people often criticize Micro.blog almost in that way, that it's a little not too nice, but there's not enough of, like, a lot of people right now are frustrated with
Yes.
events that are going on in the world, and uh, totally understandable. And so I've actually heard feedback that like those frustrations are not, or like certain issues are not like highlighted enough, like in Micro.blog's discovery section, where you can, new users, they don't follow anyone necessarily yet, they can click on discover, they can figure out, you know, posts are highlighted there. It's all like manually curated. And so that kind of opens us up to, well, if there's something like your topic that you really want to engage in is not there,
Uh-huh.
that could also frustrate some people. So we're
Yeah.
joking about the rainbows, and
Uh-huh.
but there, that is an interesting twist that some people have been frustrated that actually we're maybe we're in terms of like the curated aspect, there's not enough of the debate, there's not enough of that kind of discourse.
So what I'm
So
hearing is micro.blog is a place where you can make a blog and post whatever you want, long form, short form photographs. And then you can also it's also a social network where you can
yeah,
follow other people and they
exactly.
post the same
and
things.
and
And
I
then
should
there's
have answered the question before I went on that side tangent about like discovery, because that was the totally the opposite way. I shouldn't have answered it that way, because that's a
but
complicated subject. But yes, what you said is right. It's a blogging platform. You have your own domain name. You can post photos, text, short posts, long posts, whatever, podcasts,
And
newsletters, anything.
so you know, I've used your y'all's thing for a long time. It's great stuff, and you know, some of my friends have. And I was thinking as I was pondering whatever, as I was thinking about this recording, I was thinking, ironically, microblog has become a whole lot of stuff blog now. like
Yeah.
you actually, you know, there's bookmarks in there, hosting podcasts, which is blog adjacent enough, right? And
Hmm.
there not only bookmarks, but there's notes, there's bookshelves, kind of like a Goodreads alternative, or
Yep.
better. And I know I'm probably leaving out like two different things, right? Like, so, you know, what when you and I, you know, you got a handful of people that work with you there. Like, what are you like? Are you trying to replicate all of the internet that you would want to use in one place? Like, is there going to be email on there soon? Like, where like what's the limits that y'all are
Yeah.
working in?
That's a great question. There won't be email. It does do a lot, and I think people are surprised at the depth, especially because I've tried really hard to make. I mean, the design could be better, of course, and we always improve it. But I've tried really hard to stick to the core sort of. You have a little text box, you can post stuff, and then if you want a longer post, you can make it longer. If you want to attach a podcast, you can do that kind of thing. But I really want that starting interface to be as simple or
Mm.
almost as simple as what you would get on, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads,
So
just to
starting
make it more
interface
approachable.
is micro blog, but the
Mhm.
end game is micro or macro, any kind of
Right.
content. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. And so in terms of like the question of like what's the limit? Like are you going to do absolutely everything? Everything that we add is basically in service to making it easier to blog or encouraging people to blog. So,
Right.
Mhm.
like the bookshelves example, like why does it need a Goodreads, competitor? Well, it doesn't. But it turns out if you have a nice place to manage books you're reading, and with one click, you can post to your blog, I just finished reading this book, and it includes a link to the book and maybe the cover. And like, if you make that really easy, people will blog about the books they're reading. Whereas if they're
Cool.
just using Goodreads, they're not going to blog about the books they're reading, most
Mhm.
likely. So that's the kind of thing that we try to do. The features that don't seem blog related, they are blog related because they're trying to get people to blog more and to post more
Right,
to their
right.
own
I
site.
And
I
yeah.
I I mean, I guess all of the parts are content that you're either creating or like capturing, right? Like
Hmm.
and therefore something that you might, all to the journal discussion. It's kind of like the raw material that a blogger would deal with. Like whatever the stack of unorganized stuff that you consider to put in a blog.
Mhm.
I think most of what y'all do is that stuff, right? Is in there, and like in contrast, not in a whatever way. Like I'm always curious about this. I'm sure you know it. The OMG LOL site. Like
Hmm.
they like that's like another take on whatever this is, right? Like and they have a blog and you can put pages there, but the crossover between like microblog and them is like, I don't know, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's just different. Like, I don't know, it's different like philosophy of the service that you would provide somewhere and the community that goes along with it.
Hmm.
Like I mean, for example, like another thing is, I don't, maybe this has changed since last I looked at it, and I don't know the phrasing for it, but like how do you think of yourself as participating in like the Fediverse or the Mastodon community? Because
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't like, do, you post into it, but it feels like there's something slightly different about how you implement it than if I just go to like the Mastodon server and
Hmm.
start using it. And I don't know, like how did you decide to bring that into
Hmm.
microblog?
Yeah, and that actually gets to kind of the earlier question about the social side that I went off on a tangent and did a really bad job answering. In that there are some kind of social features that are common in Mastodon, Blue Sky, whatever, that we don't do. Like we don't do public likes, we don't do follower counts, we don't do a lot of these sort of metrics and these things that are sort of I they're very engaging and they keep people kind of hooked to social media and there's this dopamine hit kind of effect. But they also all, in my opinion, have like kind of negative side effects. Like I was really trying to be conscious from the beginning of not having a popularity contest where it's like I said, if you want to post to your blog and you find value in that, great. And if you're posting interesting stuff, people will follow you. Don't worry so much about how many followers you have. Don't judge other people by how many followers they have. So there's a lot of things we just leave out, and I think that's a big difference with Mastodon. But micro.blog is just like part of the Fediverse. So like if you create a micro.blog account, anyone on Mastodon can follow you. um, Anyone on another Fediverse server can
Ah.
follow you, and then you can follow them also. So I follow some people on Mastodon from micro.blog, and then I see their post show up in the timeline. I can reply. The reply goes back to Mastodon. So when that works, it's magic, right? It's just really nice to have these interactions going between platforms. But there are differences. Like, and I've when we first started, we definitely got some pushback of like, why don't you have these certain features? Why can't I see how many people follow me? And we just kind of stuck with it. And like 8 years later, it's like I feel pretty good that it's different because if you need that, there's a million, not a million, but there's like so many popular social networks
Yeah.
that you can be on. And in a way, that I think that frees us to be a little bit up to be a little bit different.
What's the persona of your user? What are they like?
I'd like to think, I mean, they're all perfect. They're all great. They're all great people. Um,
As long
I'd
as they
like
pay
to
their
think,
bills on time, they're
right.
fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I think many are very thoughtful people. I
Uh-huh.
think they are kind of conscious of nuance and different opinions and not, just jumping on people and attacking people, trying to have a thoughtful conversation. I think that I really do think a lot of our users are like that. And I also think a lot of them are looking for something different, right? Because like the default of just like firing up Twitter X and using it, like anybody can
Mhm.
do that. It's fine. If that works for you, great. It doesn't take any effort to do that. It does take a little bit of effort to go to another domain name and pay $5 or $1 or however, whatever plan you're on, and start a blog and register your own domain name. And so they're looking for something a little different. They're
Mhm.
looking for a place to own their content. And so they many of them are thinking about, you know, actually, honestly, a lot of the stuff we talked about earlier with journaling and just like, where does my content go? And like, they're just very, very thoughtful about that. And yeah, great users, great, great
Thoughtful
users.
folks.
Yeah.
So you were one of the first, at least that I remember. I haven't researched this, but microblog is one of the first services that like took emojis seriously as a UI construct and
Right.
like information thing, right? And like I forget how long ago it was, but like I noticed that, and like then I was like of the opinion, I don't know, as a very old man thing of like emojis, that's a bunch of bullshit with the kids, right? And like and I never really engaged with it. And then like over the years, like I kind of saw the utility and things you're doing, and nowadays I'm the opposite of like I don't use a lot of emoji stuff, but I appreciate the thinking of an emoji as a tag and other
Mhm.
things. Anyways, so it has a utility. Like it makes sense, but I wonder like maybe you always loved emojis, but like what was like? Did you go through some thinking where you were like, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna say that if you put a book emoji in the title, you instantly show up in searches for books, and this is just
Right.
gonna be a thing. And like, because that's a pretty big step from like replying to someone with like a kiss emoji. I don't know. It seems like
Yeah.
it crossed over into something different.
It's so interesting because I was also, I think like you, I hated emoji like at the beginning, like when they first came out or whatever. I was like, I don't need these, like text only, like
Mhm.
not shouldn't have any silly graphics in my texts. And I've just come full circle. I love emoji now. And so yeah, this kind of came out of getting back to like features that we don't have any special support for hashtags and trending
Mm,
hashtags. And so like if you follow someone on Mastodon, I mean you can put a hashtag in your blog post, of course, like go for it. You can put anything, you want, and it's your own space. But and if you follow someone on Mastodon that uses a hashtag, it'll show up and it'll link and great. Um, but there I think there's some problems with hashtags because they often lead to a couple things. One, like hashtag clutter. There's like too many hashtags. Like there's more hashtags than
Mm.
actual text in the post, and this is a real big problem on Mastodon, in my opinion. That's just a personal opinion. But also, I think platforms that go all in on hashtags, they also kind of go all in on algorithms and trending hashtags.
mm,
And so like here's the popular hashtags, and then you can game that, or you can it's just people will jump into a hashtag and then they'll see all these posts from people that they don't follow and they
right.
have no context, and then they like attack people just because of their opinion. And so I was like, we're not going to do trending hashtags. We're just not going to do
Yeah.
it. So what are we going to do? Well, we do have this curated discover section, which it still has so much room to grow. And like I was kind of hinting at earlier about some criticism that we've gotten recently with discover, there's so much more I want to do with that to improve it. But we also have these kind of like subsections of books and music and whatever. There's like 20, 30 I don't know how many, and a lot of them are driven with hashtags. So if like you add not hashtags, emojis. So if you add like a books emoji to a post, it'll show up there, and then you can see like, oh, people are, these are the posts that people are posting with books, and it's an experiment sort of, but it's been an experiment that's been going on for years, and so I guess we're going to keep going with it. It has some real advantages because it's fun, and
Mhm.
because it's a little more limited. Like with a hashtag, I mean, there's an infinite number of hashtags. With emoji, there's not an infinite number. So like, it would be possible for like a small team, for example, to be able to like keep an eye on all of these sections and make sure that nothing hateful or terrible is appearing that would be against our guidelines. So there, yeah, there's kind of pros and cons, but it was a real fun experiment, and people seem to like it. So we're just going to
Yeah.
kind of
And
keep
so
running
so
with it.
when the new emojis come out, do you like set aside a day to look through them and see if you're going to product manage them into some experience?
Yeah, I mean that the problem we haven't added any like official emoji in a while, and we really should. The problem with this approach, I'll be the first to admit, is that like it works really well for like books and like I said, like music and whatever. There's a lot of common emoji that are just like really obvious what they mean. But then there's a lot of other emoji that could mean 50 different things. And then there's also topics that people want to talk about that there's no obvious emoji. And so
Mm.
when you're I sometimes I felt like we've risked sort of like kind of ruining this feature in a way by arbitrarily assigning emoji to certain topics,
Mm.
and then it doesn't. This works best when it's like natural. And I think
Yeah.
hashtags also work best when it's natural, when like people just add a hashtag and then it just like you can see like this kind of emergent, just the community that happens around that hashtag. And so I think emoji are the same way. There's just not as many of them. So it's an interesting problem. I mean, we need to keep working on this. There's something here, but there's more to do, I think.
What I know you said this is kind of against your this isn't a popularity contest comments,
Mhm.
but what kind of scale are you talking when you're talking about your microblog users? Um,
It's pretty small still.
yeah.
I mean, the platform, like it's kind of big in terms of the Fediverse. Like if you think about just individual servers,
Mhm.
and I know like we're like if you look at some of like FediDB and some of like the statistics that people gather around the Fediverse, like micro.blog will pop up there just because we've been around a while and we have a bunch of user accounts. But in terms of active users, it's fairly small, and people have probably, on average, like fewer followers than like some super popular person on
T-
Mastodon or
tell me a
Threads.
number.
I don't, I for like the number like active, like the number of like
Yeah.
total users, or
Uh-huh.
I mean, like I think. I don't have numbers in front of me. I think that like FediDB says that we have like some 100,000 plus users or something like that.
Okay.
Active users way less than that, right?
Uh-huh.
More thousands, 10,000, whatever. It's like I don't keep. It's going to sound kind of weird as a business owner. I don't totally track that day to day because
Uh-huh.
I look at revenue and I look at, how many paying subscriptions do we have? That is what
Mhm.
keeps me
Mm.
up at night. But yeah, in terms of the big social networks, pretty small, um, but maybe bigger than, like your average Mastodon instance.
Has anyone surprised you with how they've chosen to use microblog?
Yes, trying to think of. I'm not coming up with a good example right now, but I know I've seen things. I see things all the time where people do something that has never been done on Micro.blog, like they create like a custom theme or something, and it's like, oh, that's really cool, like what you've done, like how you've organized your site.
Mm.
So how do you think through pricing of things? Like for example, I forget how long ago this was, but I think at the I don't know the highest level, which is like $10 a month, very very low. Like you can create as many one page websites as you want, right? Just
Mhm.
like infinite. Which is I only cite that as like, well, there must have been some thinking about like, well, we're going to put that in the $10 instead of the $5 tier. But like, do you, how do you like build up to what price you want to have?
Yeah, I really like our pricing. It's almost never changed. Like we started at $5 a month for the basic plan, and it's still $5 a month for the standard plan. Um, and it's just something I just like something about even round number
Mhm.
$5. I just it's about how much your coffee is, probably less actually these
Yeah.
days. Like if you go in and get a coffee at so I've always liked it. We've added so much. I mean, it's so much better than it was even a few years ago. So I feel like the value is way more than $5, especially when you look at like Ghost and hosted WordPress things and just like all the other ways you can pay for blogging. They're all way more than that. But I just thought it sounded like the right number, and I've stuck with it. And instead of raising the price, we've just made like other tiers that and
Right.
tried to make them as appealing as possible. So, like you said, for $10, Microdot Premium includes up to 5 blogs and any number of like single page sites, like you said, email newsletters. So it'll like you can have it like once a week, collect your blog posts and just send them out to people automatically, things like that. And then we have a family plan, which is a little more. And then this year we added this is the crazy part. We added the $1 a month blog hosting, and that's still an experiment. We'll see how that goes. It's called Micro.1, and
Mhm.
it's it's going pretty well. I mean, we don't have a ton of people on it, but I think it's a good way. The idea was like get some more interest and make it just like as approachable as possible. Like almost everybody can afford $1 a month to start a blog, and so that's been really fun. And then hopefully people will jump up to one of the other tiers.
Since you are the creator of Micro.blog, do you feel pressure to be a model user?
That's a great question. Oh, I mean, it's definitely created for like the way I want it to work.
Uh-huh.
And so, I mean, certainly some users have wished it worked a different way, and I just can't change it because it's like it's my platform and I want it to work this way for my own blog. So there's that aspect. And then I think in terms of a model user, I've never really thought about it that way, but I have thought about when I reply to people trying to set a good example. And so you're not going to see me attacking people. You're not going to see
Oh.
me complaining about random things. You're not going to, I mean, uh, I, I guess I don't think about it too much, but I, I definitely, I don't know. I try to act respectful to people.
What
That's the bottom
besides
line.
kindness, well, like, what does a model user look like in terms of what
I, gue-
functionality you're
I guess,
using?
yeah, in terms of the blog side of it, I guess someone who posts fairly regularly, but I don't know. I mean,
Uh-huh.
even saying that, I like catch myself because like if that's not you, you don't want to post but once a month, like that's fine. Like it's
Uh-huh.
okay. There shouldn't be any rules about it. But I guess I would say like people who post kind of fairly regularly, like a couple short posts, maybe a long post every once in a while, post photos. People love photos. Obviously a lot of people use Instagram and other services, but there is something about having photos on your own site that I think just resonates with people.
Mhm.
So we love photos. Like we feature them all the time, like in the discover section. Just like some people, I mean, some people are professional photographers, but some people are they just take amazing photos, right? Or they're not amazing, but they're just interesting because they live somewhere completely different than I do. And I've never seen a picture of that before. Um, so I guess I'd say that like people, they post often, they post photos.
So
They
you're
sometimes I don't know. I don't know.
it's
I don't
it
know.
sounds like what you're saying about this discover section is that it's manually curated. Is that
It's manually
true?
curated.
Is
Yeah,
that normal? That's not
it's not
normal, right?
normal. I don't think. I
Yeah.
don't think any. I don't think there's any social network that does this.
Oh,
ev- I mean, jump in if I'm not thinking of one. Um, but everything is algorithmic driven everywhere
Y-
else. And
yeah,
we were, from the beginning, we were very key on, you follow people and you get a reverse chronological timeline. That's it.
love it.
And
Yes.
the discover section, to avoid like the popularity contest, to avoid just, the hashtag kind of problem that I mentioned. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's hand curated, and unfortunately, we do not. We're so small. We don't like. We had a community manager, Jean McDonald, who was amazing, but she left last year, and we haven't filled that role yet. So we are behind often in the discover section of curating it. Um, but this idea, that the idea with discover was like, this is a snapshot of everything on the platform. It's
Mm-hmm.
not everything. It's not the popular posts. It's not the people that are most followed. It's not the most engaging. It's just like, this is just a snapshot. Like, here's some photos. Here's some thoughts people have. It tends to be, and this is kind of what I was getting at earlier. I was trying to get at, is it tends to not have like real heated discussion topics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not going to find like some totally extreme political view featured in Discover, just because like we don't need to help people get into an argument.
People are gonna
Like,
find that content.
they're going to find that
It's gonna hit them
content,
in the head, actually, if
and
they want it or
and
not.
and of course, people like, that's the balance of like, it's like, it's your blog, post whatever crazy idea you have on your blog, like as long as it's within the
So what
law, like go for it,
it's
but you don't
what's
have to be featured.
what's the goal of the discovery section for you? Is it to drive engagement? Is it to no, you're shaking your head no.
It's not really about engagement. It's just about getting people that just joined and they don't know where to start. It's like, here's the place to start.
Mm.
So I guess
Okay.
in one way you could consider that engagement, but I don't think about it as engagement, because
It's
one of the differences again between micro.blog and like almost every other social network is that it doesn't matter how often you use it to us.
uh-huh.
It really doesn't matter. There are no ads. If you just log in every month, that's okay.
Uh-huh.
We love it if you're paying. We have people that pay that use it every day, and we have people that pay that just jump in every week and poke around and post to their blog. It doesn't matter. And so the when I think of engagement, I always think of Meta is optimizing, engagement and trying to suck people back into their platform, because the more they do that, the more money they make. And
Mhm.
we don't have to do that, because our business is just aligned with users and what they need.
It's so
So
beautiful. I'm touched. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
as you were mentioning, like photos is a big part of the thing
Mhm.
of the microblog world, and obviously people are welcome to like what they like, and we
Yeah.
celebrate all the things that people like, so to speak. But
Mhm.
like closer to your own, what you enjoy looking at, like what style of like photo blogging do, are you a, do you find yourself spending the most time with? And by that I mean, like, I could think up like at least three types of photo blogging. There's sort of like, I have a really good photo and I post it. Like,
Mhm.
I don't, and then the other style would be like, I have like 10 photos and I think they're good and I'm going to post them. And then there's another
Mhm.
style that is sort of like, I post all my photos.
Right.
Like, like,
Yeah.
and this third one, like the one I think about, I don't know if you follow him. He's been in Flickr all the years, but like Bruce Sterling does this, and
Uh-huh.
Cory Doctorow does it kind of a little bit. Where, and Bruce Sterling's talked about this, where they sort of use their Flickr as like part of their notebook. So like, if they see something interesting that they want to remember later, or at least Bruce Sterling is like this, he'll just take a picture. So you go to his Flickr, and it'll be like he went to a museum and took pictures of things he wanted and uploaded it to Flickr, or not wanted, things he liked. So
Mhm.
I don't know, like, and there might be other styles, but like,
Mhm.
what do you gravitate towards as far as like what you like looking at or
Yeah,
consuming?
I like the way you've grouped those, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. Personally, I'll just start from what the way I use it is. I tend to just, if I see something I think is kind of interesting, and I mean, I take a bunch of photos like with my phone, like all the time. But
Same.
if I see something that I'm like, oh, this is kind of, I want to share this, then I'll share it. So I'm only posting maybe a photo like every few days or a week, or not super often. Um, but I do like they all go to my blog, and so like if you go to my blog and you click on photos, manton.org, click on photos, and um, and you see, you see all the photos, and you can scroll back over the months and year. I love that, and I love looking at other people's photo blogs where you can just look at all this interesting stuff that they took a picture of. So that's kind of how I use it. But there are definitely people that do the other two things. They just post random stuff all the time. Great.
Mhm.
And then there's other people that collect a bunch of photos and they publish them almost like an album. And so
Mm,
actually recently we added a feature that we call photo collections. And it's a way to group a bunch of photos together, and then you could have a blog post that had like a grid of photos, that you could like kind of cycle through.
right.
And that so I've seen people use that. It's funny because we built this feature. I've only used it a few times. I don't tend to like post photos that way very often. But I've seen people do amazing things with that, where like, yeah, they have a collection of photos that are around a theme, and then
Mhm.
they
Right.
post
So
those.
sort of highly curated albums
Yeah,
that
exactly.
they're doing.
Super highly curated, or maybe, I mean, like getting back to like what I was talking about with like a family blog or a travel blog, where there's like a kind of a purpose for like a travel blog. I think is a great example. Like you're going on a trip and you took a bunch of photos when you're in a certain city, and then you pick the 10 best ones, and you share them as a collection.
Mhm. I have a question as a potential user. I actually do have a microblog account, but it has one post. And
Okay,
so,
yeah, that's okay. Yeah, let me
um,
hear. Yeah, let me. Um,
well, like, okay, so I travel a lot. The idea of posting photos of travel is appealing, but then I'm also writing like tech blog posts and my tech thoughts, and then I also
mhm.
am thinking of the angle of my personal stuff that I'm working through. Like, does all of that go into just one jumbled feed of all the multitudes of who I am and how I express myself, or do I separate? Can I separate those?
That's a great question, and a lot of people sort of are trying to work through an answer to that question because I think it's different for everybody. So, personally, for me, I decided years ago it's just going to all go on my blog. So,
Uh huh.
technical posts, posts about programming, posts about a movie I saw, photo, like every random stuff is all going to go on my blog. And I definitely have topics that I am fascinated with in the moment. So like this year I've had a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of stuff about like AI and just tech in general, like a lot of posts like that. But it's all going to go on my blog. Other people really like to split that off and
Okay.
have maybe like a couple blogs, like one that has like the technical stuff and then one that has the more like personal stuff. And maybe they even pick like a special domain name, for one of their blogs. So it's like,
Uh-huh.
it's not like my name. It's like in the Apple, world, like we're used to like John Gruber's Daring Fireball site, for example. Like I think that's a great example of a site that's like, I mean, it has his name on it, but it also has a name. Like there's a theme.
Uh-huh.
There's like, and so some people love to do that, and that's great.
Is that
And
all for
then
the same $10 a month, or are they paying
mhm,
$10 every time they split one
they
off?
can,
Okay.
yeah, they can do for the $10 a month, they can do up to 5 separate blogs.
Okay.
So those can all be completely separate. They can have different domains or subdomains.
Wow.
And then in terms of like it all jumbled together, that is where the $10 may not work. So when micro.blog, it's this combination, it's like this mashup kind of like blogging and social network. And
Yeah.
so when you follow someone on micro.blog, by default, like they have a blog and you see their posts. Um,
Uh-huh.
but you can add other blogs to your profile. So like some people post, like let's say they post photos to micro.blog, but they have
Mhm.
all their technical writing on WordPress. And
Mhm.
so they add the WordPress feed to micro.blog. And now when you follow the micro.blog, you see their photos and their WordPress posts.
Mm.
So it's really flexible and powerful. And I love it. It's also confusing because people aren't
Mm.
sure, like, how should they configure this thing? Um, so one way, if you split things off into different sites and it's almost like different personas kind of. One way
Uh-huh.
would be everything's jumbled together. The other way would be to make a clean separation and have like a separate account. And that's where you would actually need like a separate microdouble account, for example. Like, so maybe you
Okay.
have like two $5 accounts,
Okay. When you're trying to
that kind of,
connect to
yeah.
external. Yeah, that makes sense.
And that
Um,
controls also like in the Fediverse stuff. So like if someone's following you from Mastodon, like think about like what do you want them to see. That
Yeah.
also
Oh, that makes
factors
sense.
in. Yeah.
This is amazing that it's taken this long into the podcast to bring this up, but how has Gen AI affected microblog? I guess
Oh,
there's
yeah.
so many ways, right? How about just from an infrastructure way? So Gen AI's made it two things. One is it's probably have a bot scraping your content all the time, which is costing you money, right? And then also
Yeah.
it probably like now people can write long form posts without trying at all. So then
Mm.
maybe they're posting more often because of AI too.
Hmm.
Do you see an uptick in like infrastructure usage?
Great question. So, there's a couple. I'll answer. There's a couple different kind of parts to that.
Uh-huh.
One, I mean, we're always hearing now of like, these, AI companies are like taking down like Wikipedia, and my blog is suffering under the weight of all the crawling. I don't
Yeah.
see that. I don't know
Okay.
why. One reason maybe is when you publish to micro.blog, we actually create a static website for your blog that is separate from the micro.blog like server
Mm.
infrastructure, like the normal platform, like the API and the interface and everything. And so that can serve like a million requests, right? It's like
Right.
it takes a lot to bog down like just serving a static HTML file like 1,000
Okay.
times. So maybe that's why I haven't noticed. Maybe our blogs just aren't popular enough to be crawled all the time. I don't know,
Uh-huh.
but I haven't noticed a change. We haven't upgraded any servers in the last 6 months. Um, so that's one side. And then in
Interesting.
terms of it's a great point of like, are people generating more content? And I did update, I can't remember if I updated our community guidelines or a different document, but microdebug really is for people. It's for people. It's very like
Uh-huh.
it's for
Yeah.
people like writing their own stuff. And of course, people are more and more going to use generative AI to help them. And even
Mhm.
if it's just like a fancy grammar check, like what did I do wrong and let me fix this. But it's not for spam, and it's not for creating 1,000 blog posts by a machine. It's not for that. We haven't seen a
Mhm.
lot of that, but we have seen going back years, we have seen people try to create like content farms of just meaningless content to for SEO purposes or whatever. And microblog is not for that. So like when we see that kind
Mhm.
of stuff, like we have to shut it down. It hasn't been a big problem yet. It probably will be more of a big problem at some point. Um, but I don't know. I think we're still sort of in the early days
So what
of
I'm hearing
yeah.
is Gen AI hasn't affected your platform very much at all.
It hasn't. I will say it hasn't affected it in a negative way.
Uh-huh.
The positive things I can think about is we've added some Gen AI based features, which I think are
Ah.
amazing. So, like when you bookmark a site, like we'll add a little summary. That's Gen AI,
Okay.
and you can hide it. We when you upload a photo, we
Mhm.
create keywords for it and like alt text description like automatically, and you can just use that, and then you can edit it if you want it. And that I love that. Like so, like I have all these photos on my blog. They're all indexed with these automatic keywords, and so like I can go to micro.blog and I can search for like tree or whatever, and like see
Uh-huh.
all these. I mean, that's not magic. I mean, like a million, Apple Photos, I'm sure does that, and whatever, but having it kind of built into the blog platform, I think is really cool. And we've done some other stuff, like podcast transcripts. We do podcast transcripts
Oh,
automatically
helpful.
with Gen
Yeah.
AI. It's great. I love it.
Mhm.
So, I definitely haven't. God, knock on wood. I hope I don't jinx myself, but we haven't been crushed under the
Well,
the weight.
you're also like I you're also sort of like an AI optimist. Like
Right.
you don't really ever
Uh-huh.
talk about like we're gonna save humanity and colonize. You're not an
Right.
AI crazy person, but like every now and then in the things you write about it, you almost and I'm phrasing it this way to make a point about how you're different from
Hmm.
a lot of I don't know what I feel like your cohort is, so to speak.
Hmm.
Like you're almost like, hey. this was pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
I use this to code something, and I'm just saying it was cool, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Whereas,
Go
like, I
easy
think
on
in,
me.
yeah, like I think in contrast, I mean, of course, there's exceptions, but people in the I don't know. I don't want to force a label on you and this stuff, but like,
Hmm.
the old blogger people,
Hmm.
right? Like the indie web, the open web people, the
Hmm.
kind of like programmers. Like, I feel like that's where there's a lot of we really don't like Gen AI,
Yeah.
and like,
Mhm.
at least in my mind, like you're in that group,
Right.
right? Like,
But
and
I
yet,
like it.
yeah, and yet, like you're like, yeah, I actually think this is pretty great, right? And so,
Yeah.
I don't know, like how, why do you think that is? Like
It's
how,
so yeah. It's really fascinating. I have thought about this a lot because, like you said, I have posted my blog a lot of like I don't know if I yeah, I wouldn't label myself as like a AI optimist, or I wouldn't label myself at all probably. So, um, but I have definitely had some posts that I mean, I really do think generative AI is profound. Like, I think it's changing
Yeah.
everything.
Mhm.
And as a developer, maybe I'm seeing that before some people, but I think this is a big deal. This is as big as the web. This is as big as um, you know, mobile, it's a big deal. And we only see these changes every 20 years or something. Like, we don't get huge revolutions in tech very often. This is a big one. Um, but it's fascinating because there are a lot of my users don't feel that way. Like, I think they're because like getting back to what I said about um, a lot of my users, they don't trust like big tech companies. They don't want
Mhm.
their
right?
content on Facebook, right? They're
Mhm.
looking for something better and different. And so a lot of them have this just instinctual like I we don't trust this. And there's
Mhm.
environmental costs, and there's social costs, and I mean there's all sorts of potential problems, copyright, legal issues.
Artist, yeah.
uh, yeah, and so I totally hear that too, and I probably share some of those concerns. Um, it's created a little bit of a conflict every once in a while, and I've definitely had some pushback on some of my blog posts that have really frustrated some people. I had a post, I wouldn't say defending Sam Altman exactly, but it was kind of like trying to make the pitch for like why Sam Altman maybe maybe a good person, like maybe like the negativity is overblown. And I tried to it was a long post, and I uh tried to really think about it, and I got a lot of pushback from people that like they did not like that post.
Mhm.
Which is great. Like, people are entitled to whatever they think, and they should blog about it and send me a link to their thoughts. um, so but I do think about it a lot, and that's actually another thing that I've added to Microdot blog, which I doubt is anywhere on any other platforms, which is there is a AI opt out button. So
Oh, nice.
if,
Oh,
if
that's
if you
great.
go yeah if you go to your account, there's a checkbox, and it's on by default, and it says use artificial intelligence.
Uh-huh.
And I actually love this checkbox because if you uncheck it, all that stuff I mentioned, like automatic podcast transcripts and keywords for photos and all these none of that works for your account, right? We just do
Uh-huh.
not use Gen AI at all. And that just that one checkbox, to me, it allows people that feel very strongly that AI is a problem. It allows them to just, yeah, like opt out. Like, I don't want this stuff on my
Mhm.
account. I don't want to contribute to like the server farm that is churning through all these prompts. Um,
Mhm.
and it also, in a way, enables us to occasionally add AI features that we think are really useful for people
Mhm.
without always debating this issue, because
Yeah.
you uncheck the checkbox, and not everyone's going to be happy, but like, I don't know, I feel like it's a good compromise. And
Yeah, you've
I
uh
got
think it's
like the
great.
AI kill switch.
it's the kill switch, right? So, but it's super controversial. I mean, and I've been thinking about this a lot because I feel like it has become very divisive, and I've seen sort of the negativity on both sides. It's frustrating. Like we can't. It's almost like we can't talk about this issue anymore because people feel so strongly for or against.
Yeah, I forget their name, but there was that blog post 3 4 weeks ago where the person was just like, I'm always just going to hate AI and tell people that they suck if they like AI. It's like,
Right. Yeah.
whoa, okay, it's just I don't know, it is
Yeah.
very divisive.
I really think it's a big problem. And I think, I know I'm just, this goes off a little bit on a tangent, but like I really worry about when we like, as an example, like I don't think we should have humanoid robots personally. I think that's really problematic. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but people are going to build weird stuff with AI, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be really, just society is really going to have trouble with some of the stuff that is going to happen. So I don't know. Hopefully, hopefully it's all good. But I don't know.
What can we do? Just cross our fingers and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's,
what we can do, like we have to be thoughtful about it, and we have to
mm-hmm.
encourage the people that are leading to make smart decisions. Because
Yeah.
most people are trying to do the right thing, and sometimes they stumble and they make mistakes, and it's
Well,
okay. We'll all do that.
I mean, also, I mean, as a point of uh, optimism and dealing with unforeseen technological problems of the future, so to speak. What could be more crazy and dangerous than letting anyone in the world publish a web page on the web, right? Like,
Yeah.
there are so many like shitty things people could do, right? And if you're
Mm,
just sort of like, here you go, now please do it, right? And yet like yourself and many other people have figured out like, oh, we can deal with that. Like, I mean, big weird things can happen, but also like it's fine, right? Like
mm,
we've learned how to live with the ability of anyone anywhere to say anything they want and get a lot of attention. And it's like,
mm.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
maybe hopefully
I'm
figure it
sorry if
out.
I took it into a dark, a little dark place
Yeah,
with
no,
AI
no,
and the
it's good.
robots, but
But then also,
yeah,
it's like I'd like to be able to search over my photos. That's nice.
right.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And this
And
stuff is changing so quickly too. Like what we thought we knew a year ago, like it's almost not even the same thing anymore. So
and
yeah.
what is your responsibility, if any, with moderation of the
Mm,
blogs that you host? Like how do you handle misinformation? How do you handle things that are not kind and what level
mhm.
of not kind? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. We From the start, I had this idea that like if you had your own space on the internet, so like you're
Mm-hmm.
posting to your own blog and whatever, like you should have a lot of freedom. Like it's yours, you own it. It's like it's your content. It's
Mm-hmm.
your own space. Like you should have a lot of freedom to do, like, you shouldn't, there are things that you could post online that are actually illegal in the United States, right? You shouldn't do
Okay.
that stuff. But like you should have a lot of you should feel like you own the space and you can post a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that you have a right to have your post promoted on the
Mm-hmm.
platform, like featured and discover. It doesn't mean you have a right to attack other people, harass other people. Um, and so we tried to kind of draw this line where like on your own website, like you can do a lot, like
Mm-hmm.
within reason. But when you cross over to the social side and you're interacting with other people, like we're going to have to step in and moderate content more often, because there's just a chance for more harm to happen. Um, and the other idea with like open standards and open APIs and portability of content is, if we have to step in and say like this is against our guidelines, this is not allowed, like you can move your content somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, the idea that you can move your content, the fact that you can move your content should free us to even be more
Oh,
aggressive in moderating
yeah.
content, right? It's like if you're on Twitter, X, and you post something terrible or illegal or whatever, and they decide they might have to moderate and hide your post or delete it, like what are you going to do, move your tweet somewhere else? No, like it's a tweet, like it's
Yeah.
stuck there. And so I think a lot of platform companies, they were very hesitant to moderate and do anything, because like what's going to happen, like you can't just move to the other Twitter, and then you're going to lose that person and engagement and everything. So I think when you have an open platform, I think it should free platform platforms to moderate more, because there is that sort of openness where someone can just like they have a way to escape. They have a way, like if they're not happy with our
Mhm.
guidelines, they can put their blog on WordPress and continue on.
Yeah.
So y'all recently also I think set it up so you can run as a user, you can run your stuff in the EU, if I remember. Like,
Yeah.
and is that a hassle as far as regulations and things, or is it just moving files around? Like did you have to like hire some lawyers to walk through this, and now you've got to go do this protocol and stuff, or
Mm.
is it just fine?
I should have hired lawyers to go over it, but I didn't. Um, right now, it's really just kind of moving files. Like we set up some servers in the EU, and we copy things to them. And yeah, so it's kind of like a checkbox, kind of like I don't want AI to be used. The checkbox is
Right,
like
right.
I want all my content in the EU, and when you enable that, it copies all your photos to a server in the EU, copies all your blog posts. There's still like our core servers are still in the United States, so it's not like 100%. That's a harder
Right, right.
problem.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, a lot of people this year were just really frustrated with their dependence on like servers and companies in the United States, I think. And I realized that and wanted to add this as just another option for people, like
Yeah, yeah.
if you feel really strongly that you want to have your stuff outside the United States, like here's what you can do.
And like cost wise, is it like not remarkable, or like it's pretty much the same?
I mean, it did add a cost because we added servers in the EU, but
Right, right, right.
they're pretty right now. They're pretty lightweight. Like it, it's not a big deal right now. Maybe it'll be a big deal later if we kind of also because like I wasn't expecting like everybody to move to the EU servers right
Right,
away,
right,
right?
right.
So like it's a smaller percentage of people. They live in the EU already probably, and they feel better if their content was there. So far it's been good. I think the reaction has been really positive.
So I well, maybe I don't follow do look at the right area, but I don't feel like video is super popular on microblog or any blog, right?
Right.
Like on I guess it's the web. I don't know, on the internet, like video has somehow become it's not so much like it's an island or a walled garden. It's just sort
Hmm.
of like it only exists in like one or two places. And some of those
Yeah.
might be like walled gardens and stuff, but for some reason, and maybe early on it was because of the cost of like
Hmm.
hosting and streaming videos. I don't know what, I'm sure it still costs more than static web pages. But like, why do you think video hasn't like spread out in the same way that even photos have in other content? It's very, very centralized into just a few places.
Yeah. I think the start of it, I think, is what you said about like the costs and like turns out videos are really big to serve.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's where it started, and then of course YouTube is ginormous, and so it's just so easy to upload stuff there. And I still upload like longer videos to YouTube too, like demos of micro.blog and stuff. And I always feel kind of bad about that because like I'm all about not posting to silos, and like here I am like posting videos to YouTube. And a lot of that is just because in micro.blog you can upload videos, but there is a limit on the size, and so it's just not quite suitable for long videos right now.
Mm.
I would love to improve that, and that's a cost thing, but also kind of just a technical thing to make like upload smooth and streaming fast and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. I would love to work on that, but no, I think you're absolutely right. Like videos, they're just not on people's website very often. They're on
Yeah.
TikTok and YouTube, and
A As
it's
a
kind of a
consumer
shame.
of
Yeah.
websites, I really don't like when a video pops up when I
Oh,
wasn't
really?
expecting one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like it's yelling at me. I didn't sign
Right.
up for sound.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like
No,
it.
that's a good point. And I memean, like, there's kind of like a right way to do video and a way that's super obnoxious, like with
Uh-huh.
auto playing and yeah, and like I mean, also like people that like websites that have like way too many ads, and some of the ads are videos, and like that can be really frustrating. Um, I think there's a lot of potential for video, and I wish I had time to do more with it. But yeah, like you said, the videos are just huge. Like they're they're too big. So there's a cost, there's bandwidth, there's all these kind of issues that I haven't had a chance to really
Yeah, yeah.
grapple
I,
with.
I, I mean, I guess thinking it is a very like you. I don't normally think about the ingestion,
Mm,
uploading the videos, but like,
yeah,
yeah, just uploading it and then like probably rendering it to different formats and then sending
right.
it out here. Like this does a lot of, it's a lot
Yeah.
more than like a markdown file. Like this, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it really is a lot. And I mean, so with micro.blog right now, and like on my blog, I'll post videos every once in a while. It's usually short, like 1 minute, like almost like an extension of a photo, really.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not going to find like 30-minute videos. It's like someone filmed, like I posted a video recently that was just like raining outside for 15 seconds or something. It's like, it's
Mm.
almost more of a photo than a video.
Yeah,
Um,
like a little experience. Yeah,
like a little
Mhm.
experience, yeah. But I would love to do more. It's just there's definitely a cost, and just I don't know,
yeah.
time, and yeah.
All right. One more last question here. We don't ask this of all guests because I've learned they don't always have good answers. Well, good. They
No
don't always have
pressure.
answers that I
Uh-oh.
like. So we'll see. So if we were to, invited, of course, not in a creepy way. If we were to go into your kitchen and we're going to open the cabinet, the drawer, wherever you store it, of the things you use to put leftover food in, containers, whatever you want to call them, what
Yeah,
are we going to see? Like we open the drawer, what does it look like in there?
yeah. That is interesting. So we have, um I don't know who made these. I don't know where they came from, but like we used to have just a bunch of random like Tupperware type plastic
Mhm.
things to put food in. This is what you're talking about, right? Like
Yes.
Absolutely.
yeah. But now we have, I don't know where, I don't know. My wife got them somewhere, but they're like that, but they're glass, and they have like a little like plastic, like a rubber top kind of
Mm.
thing. And I love them, but I have no idea where they came from or what they're called. So I'm sorry. I don't know.
So it's all tidy and organized in glass?
Oh, well, it's not. Well, I'm just saying like I was just talking about like the actual
Oh,
container.
sure.
Like,
No, no.
what does it look like?
It sounds like first of all, you've tried to have one type of thing, or at
It would
least
be nice if we had one that,
majority, like
yeah,
80% the one thing, right?
yeah. And I wish we had 100%, because like, you know what it's like trying to find the right lid to the thing and it doesn't fit. And but those are, when I look in there and there's a bunch of junk, and there are a few different things and some random whatever else is in there. Um, I always reach for those first, because they're just better. I don't know. I don't know where
And
they came from.
do you have like a lid caddy that you put the lids in, or
No,
do you attach the
no.
lids, or like what's your style of
They're
storage?
just yeah, they're just all in there. So that is pretty. I mean, I guess it's kind of cluttered, and it's just like they're just sitting
All
in
right,
the drawer
all right.
thing. That's a good. Are y'all super organized with lid caddy, and like because that sounds good. I mean, like
No, no. I mean,
no.
we go. It's a very much a tide comes in, tide goes out situation where
Hmm.
every year or two we do the Steve Jobs wardrobe thing. We're just like
Yeah.
we're gonna have the one thing,
Right.
in various sizes, of course. Just go to IKEA, buy the one thing, and that's it. And then eventually you get wardrobe creep. Just like, well, we have this one little container, and then
Right.
we got this other container, and then there was a double sleepover one night, and someone left this container, and then like you got
Yeah.
to have this container for a snack, and then after a couple of years, it's just like Mr. Tupperware came over and threw up in your drawer.
Yeah.
Is the situation, but you know
It's a
we
little bit
try.
like that, but we just moved, like, I guess 8, 9 months ago. So that was a big reset. So
Oh,
it's
right, right,
it's
right.
better. It's
Ah.
it's not perfect, but it is better than like our old house that we were at for like 18 years, that had really accumulated some things in the kitchen.
Yeah, yeah. Nothing like a house move to organize your Tupperware drawer.
Yeah.
Well, Thanks for being on. It was great. It was fun to finally get a chance to talk to you after all these years of using your team's stuff. So that was nice. And well, you mentioned it several times. But if people wanted to like check in more of your stuff, what would you send them to on the World Wide Web?
Yeah, my blog is manton.org, and micro.blog is the platform that we're talking about, and that's the domain name, micro.blog, and that's how we say the name too. It's kind of yeah, it's
Wait,
kind of weird, but yeah.
oh wait, is it that you say the dot?
We say the
Is that
dot, yeah. It,
okay?
it doesn't matter. People can say it
There's
however they want. I'm just
there's
yeah.
not some different way of pronouncing micro or blog that I don't know about.
No, no.
Blog.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a platform.
Yeah. All right. Well, once again, as a listener, you've listened to an episode of Software Defined Interviews. If you want to get the show notes for this episode, if you don't know how to spell Manton and you want to go to his domain name, you can go to softwaredefinedinterviews.com/111. I don't know what you call that kind of number where it's all the same. I guess it's a palindrome, but there must be something else where the number has all the same numbers. And with that, we'll see everyone next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.